also been referred to as facilitator. Hence, one can define a teacher as a professional who does not operate under the traditional concept of teaching, but rather guide and assist learners to reach their full potential. A facilitator builds on the knowledge base of the learner to find solutions to questions. So in a nutshell, we will say a teacher helps learners to acquire knowledge and develop competencies or skills. That's the basic definition I can give for who a teacher is.
Wow, that's a very wonderful and very detailed definition. Thank you very much, Mr. Augustus. Madam Dorcas, could you add a few words to it? Madam Dorcas, if you can hear me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you also hear me? Okay.
Loud and clear.
So I'll go with the layman's definition, okay? What everybody perceives a teacher to be. A teacher is the mother of all professions. We all know that all the other professions were taught by a teacher. So basically, I would say a teacher is someone that helps students to acquire knowledge, a competence, or a skill. Everybody can be a teacher. But I think in this context, we are talking about professional certified teachers who have specifically been trained to be in the classrooms to help students acquire knowledge and also skill.
Okay.
So basically, I don't want to go to the perception of who a teacher is what I've spoken about, helping students to acquire skills or competencies or knowledge or virtue. Yes.
Thank you very much. I think it's well taken. It's detailed enough. Mr. Owusu Kwarteng is here. So right after Mr. Ebenezer Apple's submissions, I'll hand it over to him to continue moderating the program. So Mr. Ebenezer Apple.
Okay.
Could you please add a bit more flesh to it? Yeah. Thank you very much, Madam Dorcas. We'll come back to you soon.
Okay. Thanks so much, sir. I think my colleagues have said it all, but then I would like to add my voice to this. Previously, teachers were seen as knowledge imparters, and they were solely responsible for going to the classroom and then lecture and impart knowledge to students. But that narrative has changed. Now teachers are seen as facilitators. So, and that is what we want to encourage teachers to be. You don't have to make yourself as embodiment of knowledge. Then you go to the class and then you pour it out to the students. But we are looking at teachers who will be more creative, innovative, and find more ways to help students to come up with their own ideas. And ideas will live with the student for their lifetime. So I'm seeing teachers as more facilitators other than just being embodiment of knowledge and then pouring it to students. So that's what I want to add to what my colleague said earlier.
Wow, that's wonderful. So we've gotten a clear understanding of who a teacher is from our participants and our guests, of course. And it's been insightful so far. Mr. Owusu Kwarteng, if you are here, could you please take over? Mr. Kwarteng, can you hear us? Mr. Kwarteng, can you hear us? Okay, let's move on.
I'm sure he is able to hear us.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Yes, I think we can hear you. Mr. Quatin, can you hear us? Okay, so Madam Dorcas Wekita, if you can hear me from Pram Senior High School. We are very happy to have you here as our guest. So I would like to find out from you some of the roles of a teacher.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the role of a teacher is described by the many synonyms or many names a teacher is now called. Okay. I tried to find out a few, and I see that to a teacher, we have synonyms like educator, instructor, a coach, mentor, guide. And now even with the new basic curriculum, they said we no longer call them teachers, we call them facilitators. So I think the role a teacher plays is embodied in these other names that we used to call them. So an educator, a teacher is meant to educate, give information about things students doesn't know. Then instructor, you give instructions as to how things are supposed to go. In a classroom setting, what we are talking about, it is the teacher's role to give instruction to classroom management, how things are supposed to be carried out in the class so that you can have a successful section. Then a coach, it goes more beyond the delivery, the lecture, the giving of information to students to acquire. Yeah. You are more of like a life coach now, guiding students through not just teaching them, but helping them to learn, to acquire how they should go about it. We do that one too. Then we also mentors, somebody the students can look up to and say, I want to become like this, my teacher. So it goes more from just the verbal instruction to how we do things ourselves, to how we carry ourselves about. So I wouldn't want to say all, I will leave some for my other guests to also talk about. So teachers are educators, we are instructors, we are coaches, we are mentors, we are facilitators. So as an earlier colleague said, we are now moving away from being embodiment of knowledge and just spewing grammar and telling our students what to learn and what to kind of now helping them to get to where they are, both in and outside of the classroom.
Thank you very much. I don't remember the last time a profession was garnished with all these synonyms and they actually fitted perfectly. So that tells you the important roles teachers play, yes, in our society. Thank you very much. It's been very, very insightful. Thank you very much for your submission, Madam Dorcas. Okay, so still on the roles of teachers, I would like Mr. Ebenezer Afful to also give us a few roles of a teacher, after which we'll move on to Mr. Bejra.
Okay, thanks so much, sir. To add up to what Ms. Dorcas said, I would like to talk about teacher taking charge of the subject area. Okay. That being said, I'll talk about the fact that as a teacher, you have to be resourceful. Anytime your student comes to you, you should be able to guide them to an extent. That doesn't mean that as a teacher, you have to know everything. But then sometimes how teachers answer their student is quite disgusting. The teacher will come to you with a question expecting an answer from you. And then the way we handle the whole thing, at the end of the day, we tend to even embarrass ourselves. We have to find a nice way of telling them if we are unable to find solution to that problem immediately. We can have a nice way of telling our students. But sometimes teachers, we embarrass ourselves. But then as teachers, we have to up our game in such a way that we have to be on top of our game so that anytime student approaches us with questions, we'll be able to help solve these problems for them. So as a teacher, we have to be resourceful. We have to be on point. We have to be anytime we are called upon to deliver, we should be able to. And that is one of our responsibilities. I mean, and then again, we have to also have that authority as a teacher. So I remember in one of our PDs, there was this resource person who came to give us a talk. And this woman was like, she had a child, a daughter. This daughter is just in, I think, grade 2 or grade 3. The teacher gave the daughter an assignment, and then the mother was helping the child with the assignment. But the mother was using a different approach to get the same answer. The child said she's not going to write that answer because that is not how the teacher taught, them. To an extent that the mother has to call the teacher to confirm that she can indeed write the answer the mother is telling, her. So this is the extent the child has built trust in the teacher.
Yeah.
So there is no way this student wouldn't learn from the teacher. So as a teacher, you have to be resourceful. Your students should see you as authority. If they have to rely on you for everything, not everything though, but then they should see you as, on top, other than they see you as their, the same colleague in terms of knowledge. Sometimes teachers go to class and they memorize themselves simply because the content that they are teaching their students, the students even sometimes tend to solve questions for them. And that doesn't make you a teacher. As a teacher, you have to get that authority. You have to be resourceful in such a way that your student can also gain enough from you. So I'll end it here, and I'll let my other colleague to also add up to what I said. Thank you.
Wow, so that's a very good submission. I've actually been a victim of that. I'm a teacher myself. There are times my kids bring their assignments. I try to help them, then they go like, no, but my teacher said I should do it this way. And I tell them I'm also a teacher. But once they tell you that this is how my teacher says I should do it, that is how they're going to go about it. So that should tell us that as teachers, we must always be on top of issues. Several times, some parents have had the opportunity to put us on the spot. Parents are always looking for some sort of an opportunity to nail teachers. There are some parents like that. So it's always very important to remain very resourceful because the kids look to us for inspiration, for everything. Teachers are like programmers. We program the minds of these little ones. So, of course, we play a very, very crucial role in the lives of teachers. Thank you very much for your submission. Mr. Augustus Bejra, if you are here, please, you can add a bit more flesh to it, the role of teachers.
I think he's having a network challenge. So if we can move to the next question.
So is he with us or he's left the room?
He's here. I'm asking him to unmute, but he's not responding.
So Mr. Bejra, if you can hear us before we move on to the next item, kindly unmute it and then give us your submission on the role of teachers. Okay.
It's on.
Okay, so sorry about that. The role of the teacher is very, very broad, but I will try as much as possible to just hit on 4 areas. The primary role of a teacher is to deliver classroom instructions that will help learners in diverse ways. And then 2, I would say the teacher also assesses learners through the use of diverse mechanisms, including exercises, project work, and examination. The third one would be the teacher is also a exemplary mode so that the students will emulate and then become better versions of themselves.
Thank you very much. That's a wonderful submission. That's a very, very wonderful submission. So I believe as teachers, we have all in one way or the other faced some challenges, countless number of times. And I know everyone can have a story to tell when it comes to challenges teachers face, especially in our parts of the world. Sometimes it could be institutional challenge as a whole. Sometimes it could be a challenge you're facing with some students. Sometimes it's even a personal challenge. Sometimes it's related to the resources available. Sometimes it's about the larger community as a whole. Sometimes about parents and so on and so forth. So I'm going to give my guests the opportunity to share with us a few challenges teachers face. It could be a personal one, it could be an experience, it could also be an observation, and we will be glad to hear them. So Madam Dorcas, if you are here, kindly share with us a few challenges teachers face. Of course, every profession comes with its own hazards or occupational hazards, and teachers, we face quite a high number of challenges. So if you could share with us a few of them before we move on to Mr. Ebenezer Afful.
Hello, thank you, sir. So I'll talk about few challenges and my other colleagues will add up. But this was the first one I wanted to talk about. But since it will be in the next question, I'll hold on. Lack of motivation. That one, you can't take it out. But then since you're going to talk about it later, let me leave that one and then later talk about it better. But then one of the challenges that faces teachers is TLMs, teaching learning materials, especially in the public schools. I had the opportunity to teach in a public school before moving to an international school. And I teach biology. And those of you who have done biology before, you get to know that at the early part of the syllabus, we're talking about some organisms like amoeba, paramecium, euglena, and all those people. Students don't have textbooks and there are no projectors in the school. So what you have to do is that at any lesson, you have to draw these tabs on the board for students. And these organisms, they start from amoeba right down to fowl. So we have like 20 organisms. And all these organisms, you have to draw them. And so you can imagine the stress teachers will go through and then the pace at which you're going to move. And the biology syllabus too is bulky. So you have to take a lot of time. And so one of the challenges as teachers we face is teaching learning materials, especially with technology. I mean, we are lacking them. And I don't know the state of the school now, but then I'm hoping things will be different because moving to international school, things were very easy. We could complete a whole lot of topic within a term. Meanwhile, we took a year in a public school still on these topics because sometimes students will be asked to draw these structures. And so if they are not familiar with these structures, they can't draw them. And so that is a huge tax teachers go through, especially biologists. Myself, I'm not an exception. So that's one of the challenges. And then another challenge teachers also go through is their ability to switch from one teaching technique to the other. Myself, it happens to me in the classroom. Sometimes you'll be teaching and then you'll be using a particular method in class. But at a point in time, a student will complain that I don't understand. And you have used one technique, you have to switch to the other. Sometimes it becomes very difficult to switch. And that is one of the challenges. Unless, of course, you want to teach for teaching's sake. But if you really want to impact the student, if you really want the student to understand what you are teaching, sometimes getting different examples with different contexts, with different techniques becomes very difficult. So that is one of the challenges we face, though it's not so much, a problem, but sometimes we face these challenges in class. And then again, some of our students also have learning challenges now they said we shouldn't say learning difficulties, disabilities again. So learning challenges, some of them too have learning challenges. As to how to identify these challenges is also a problem. I happen to be the learning support coordinator of my school. And then I have to ask teachers to get me a list of students with learning challenges. And it took some time because it's very difficult to identify and possibly be sure of what you are saying. So that is one of the challenges teachers also face in the classroom, though they were able to submit, but it took some time. And I saw that as a challenge because if it has been that easy, they would have submitted it very early. So I think these are some of the challenges I will talk about because of time. I will leave the rest for my colleagues to also talk about it. But the lack of motivation is very important to me. Teachers are not motivated enough at all.
Okay.
But we'll talk about it later, as I said. Thanks so much.
Okay, so I think that's a very, very, very good submission. A very, very, I mean, it can be more apt. It's very true. Most teachers are ill motivated. So you have a very, very good point. Thank you very much for your submission, Mr. Ebenezer Afo. A reminder that we have just 2 minutes, but we'll quickly rejoin as soon as this session goes off. We'll quickly reconverge and then we will continue. So, Mr. Augustus Bejra, if you can hear me, what are some of the challenges you faced as a teacher or you've observed some colleagues face as teachers? Mr. Bejra, can you hear me? Madam Dorcas, if you can hear me, take over before we get Mr. Bejra back online.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Bejra, please go ahead.
One of the
Your network is a bit poor, sir. If you could
one of
please
the
position
challenges,
yourself. Okay, it's better. Please go ahead.
very.
Okay.
Is it okay?
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
The very one that is readily available, I would say the lack of infrastructure. It really impedes on the work of a teacher. Just this morning, I was actually watching a TV station, specifically TV3, where they were showing a documentary around the Afram Plains area. And seriously, teachers have to cross the river before they get to the classroom.
Wow.
I look at it and it's very, very difficult for that teacher. There were no rooms or let me say houses for even the teachers to rent. And
Okay, Mr. Bejra, just a minute. Please, let's all rejoin. Let's all rejoin after this. I think it's one of the problems. It's unfortunate. It's one of the problems we are facing, the Afram Plains areas. I mean, several times we've said it. For some reasons, when it's time for elections, ballot papers, ballot materials are able to reach them, but learning materials are not able to reach them. And it's a very, very unfortunate situation. So our people have the political will to make sure that they vote for them, but they do not have that will for them to get access to quality education. And I think it's a very, very serious constraint towards the academic pursuit. So it's a very, very important thing government needs to look into to get things done. Madam Dorcas, if you are here, a few words from you on the challenges teachers face.
Okay, thank you once again. I also have resources, the infrastructure. My colleagues have already touched on that. So I will touch on another area that I am. Unfavorable educational policies. Unfortunately, our educational system is not governed by an independent body that have maybe specific goals as to where they want to head the country's educational system to. We are at the mercy of the politicians.
Exactly.
So when they come, they make educational policies that will favor their agenda. And sometimes it is very, very uncomfortable and challenging. Let me use this free SHS as example. I teach in a secondary school, and the crop of students that we receive, the free SHS is not given on any merit. I think there are cutoff points I can't say because I'm not so sure, but they come with very huge grades. Whatever your grade immediately you fall in, you'll be given a school and you are supposed to enjoy free SHS. So when they come in, hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Good. When they come in their numbers, everybody goes through. That is my challenge with this policy. Everybody goes through. I think their names are brought from the free SHS secretariat to the schools. And so they are supposed to go with the batch. So even if a student needs remedials, some students are not performing to their best. So maybe we need to repeat them, give them remedial lessons so that they can catch up and do something meaningful. This system doesn't allow that. So that gives the students some sort of leeway. It doesn't encourage them to do their best because they know whatever they do, they'll be allowed to complete or to go through the process just like that. So it is a challenge for me. When it happens like that, getting the best output, your output as a teacher is not reflected in the results you get from the students. You may put in your best, but your students will not reflect it because they are not also putting in their best because they know they will not be held accountable. The examinations they write are just formalities. The results have no say in whether they are repeated or promoted. So that is that. Then large numbers, these are public schools. We have very large classroom numbers. An example for me, for home economics students, you can have as many as 65 to 70 students in a class. And wow. I sympathize with the biology teacher. I used to teach biology to home economics. You can just imagine the time it will take you to mark exercises.
Yeah.
And I'll touch on his drawings, biological diagrams, and you have to take time to see that the students acquire those skills. Their lines are not wavy. They have labeled, their guidelines are straight. How they label their diagrams are on point. Imagine for a class. Maybe you may not be teaching one class. You have about 3 or 4 classes to make up for the number of periods you are supposed to do as a professional teacher. So if one class you have 65 students and you have maybe 3 or 4 of that, examination scripts you mark, exercises you mark. So that even limits you to the quality of your assessments.
That's very true.
So the large numbers, the educational policies, that ones are unfavorable. Our facilities are not enough. At my place, from Senior High School, as an example, the library has been converted to a storeroom because there is no place for store. So where would the students even have textbooks, keep their textbooks or go to have reading? And then our time allocated, the numbers and the time allocated for each period for a subject is not enough for practical subjects. I teach chemistry. When you are getting to Form 3, you need to have, not even Form 3, when you come, you need to do some practicals. But if you have one lab, that can take a maximum of, let me say, 25, 30 students, and the class is 60, you have to divide them, they have to come in 2 batches. You have just an hour or 2 maximum. How do you prepare the place for this batch to come and another batch? Just one teacher, or maybe with even a lab assistant. I don't even have a lab assistant, so I have to do all the work by myself. It is impractical. It is not just possible. So all these things go to a long way to affect the work that you do as teachers.
Oh, wow. I think teachers are in a very sorry state, and I really do understand. And it's true, we really need to have a national policy, an independent national policy on education, because the polarity between the 2 main political parties in Ghana in terms of education is so wide. One is talking about free SHS, the other is talking about progressively free, one is talking about, they have all sorts of ideas, and then they give it this political twist for a populist view, and it's really, really affecting the future of the kids. In one breath, one would like us to go 3 years, the other would like us to go 4 years, and then comes.
I can't hear anything.
I think he's having a network challenge. Yeah, we can hear. Just a minute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, he's back online. Thank you.
Okay, so you cannot hear me. Thank you very much. So I said we can see some CD notes on the screen. And of course, we all know financial packages are a big source of motivation to all of us. So the question I would like to ask is the teacher's reward in heaven or on earth? And this statement is a very, 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 very big statement. And I would like Mr. Apple to touch on this. Mr. Apple, what do you make of these statements we keep hearing from parents, we keep hearing from head teachers, we keep hearing from politicians, we keep hearing from even men of God? What do you make of this statement? Is our reward in heaven?
All right, thanks so much, sir. And I decided to share this topic with my colleague teachers to also find out their thoughts. And these are a few ones they said. I want to read them. And one said that pastors don't claim their reward is in heaven. How much less teachers? Then the other one said, this is a mental slavery to cheat teachers. And another one said, so who was the first person to say teachers' reward is in heaven? Like, none of us was really able to understand why they say teachers' reward is in heaven. And to me, I see it as a way to underpay us or give us something not appreciable.
Yeah.
Because I don't see why there are a lot of workers and only teachers will tell us that our reward is in heaven. Now let's look at something here. We have different religions, and then we also have different beliefs. So I'm a Christian, so let me use my religion as an example. We believe that if you don't accept Christ as a Lord and personal Savior, you're not going to heaven. So fine, I believe that I'll go to heaven because I've accepted Christ as my Lord and personal Savior. And I know other religions that don't believe in Jesus are not going to heaven. So those teachers in other religions, how are they going to receive their reward? So come to think about it, it is just a way to cheat the teacher or to, I don't know, but that is just the reason behind it. Because you cannot tell us that the reward is in heaven. What about if the person doesn't even go to heaven? Why is he going to get reward? So I don't know why our reward is in heaven. You can't tell us that our reward is in heaven. Meanwhile, politicians are taking 120 cities. Are they also not going to heaven? I mean, they're taking end gratia because they have 4 terms to end, and so they're taking so much hope. Wouldn't they die? Wouldn't they also go to heaven? Why don't we say, let's use this money for developmental projects and then invest? I mean, they receive their reward in heaven. Now, I decided to do some small research on the working condition of teachers in some other countries. If possible, it's only in Ghana that we are receiving less. And my research showed that even this year in US, where a lot of people want to go, there are 3 states that have undergone strike because of salary. So it is not only a problem in Ghana, I think it's worldwide.
Worldwide,
yeah. Recently, I saw a video of a teacher who went to one of those countries, and then the teacher was like, he's enjoying. And me, I don't see it as an enjoyment, because if the teacher is receiving, let's say, $1,500 there, I don't know, if the person sends 500 home, the money will be like around 3,500, which is equivalent to the person's salary in Ghana here, or even more. So I don't know, the person might be doing some projects in Ghana, thinking that he's okay. But then ideally, if he should receive that money he's receiving there in Ghana here, that money wouldn't be that much. So across board, teachers' salary is very, very, very small. I mean, comparatively, it's very small. And I believe that this saying is just a way to cheat the teacher. Can you imagine country like Holland? I mean, they pay their teacher as low as $1,000 as a beginner. And you ask yourself, I mean, what is he going to use this money for? And then you tell me that my reward is in heaven. Meanwhile, I'm suffering on earth. So how will I enjoy? How will I even learn how to enjoy so that I will even enjoy in heaven? So it's a whole lot of problem that we as a teachers, we have to be, be creative in our own way. As our president rightly said, that if you want to be a billionaire, you don't have to be a teacher or don't have to rely only on your salary. I think as teachers, we have to also be creative enough to find side jobs to do, so that at the end of the day, if you go on retirement, you have something to, depend on. And recently I met a teacher who has retired, and how the person was talking bitterly, because when this person was in service, he thought after, pension, he'll be receiving huge sum of money from Senate. But then he told me he's receiving as less as 350 cedis. Somebody who was receiving like 2,500 before pension, receiving 350 cedis. What will this person use this money for? Mm-hmm. So I also advise teachers on this forum that we should also try as much as possible to save something, to invest in some business, to actually engage ourselves so that when we go on pension, life will be quite okay. When you are teaching or when you are in service, you think things are all right, it's okay, until you get to pension. And how the person spoke, the person was like, I should even cancel my subscription with Senate, because he thought he was going to be at least half of his salary when he goes on pension. So please, let's all try and engage ourselves in one or two things so that when we go on pension, all our salary can be a little bit higher and we'll be comfortable here. But the saying that our reward is in heaven, please, let's really forget about that for now. And then let's hope so if it indeed is in heaven. Thanks so much, sir.
Thank you very much. I could tell you were getting frustrated and agitated, and it's really understood. And the last point you made, I think it's very, very important that teachers have to get a stream of income so that we don't only depend on our meager salary. We should also have another source of income. It's also very, very, very important. So what some people have been asking, there are legitimate questions people ask, and I just read from Madam Akuya Philo, and she is asking, what if the person is an atheist? If the person doesn't even believe in heaven, what are you going to do, or how is the government going to reward such a person? There is someone who doesn't believe in the existence of God. There is someone who does not believe in the existence of heaven. So how is the person going to go to heaven for him or her to collect the reward? So these are all very, very legitimate questions. Okay, so Madam Dorcas, if you are here, maybe you as a woman of God, you might say, oh, okay, so we are not to be rewarded on earth. When we go to heaven, then we can have our reward. So I believe that's what you're going to talk about, oh?
In fact, when that Mr. Techi posted that topic, I gave him a reply that he laughed about. Whoever said that, it's a very loose talk. I can't even remember the last time I thought about it.
Okay.
I agree that it was an excuse to maltreat teachers financially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible says that you reap what you sow. And where you sow is where you reap. You don't sow in your garden and harvest in the farm. Neither do you sow in your farm and harvest at your backyard. So when you do the job, it's when you get the results. So I don't think the reward as in monetary I don't buy that. But sincerely, teachers do receive their rewards here. If I'm talking about rewards, there are two different, the positive ones and then the negative ones. To me, we receive two kinds of rewards, like the contentment and of seeing after your stress. When you see students pick up or you help them achieve certain goals, their contentment, their words that they say to show that they appreciate what you do is so heartwarming. People have noticed that teachers do live long, and relatively, when you compare us to other jobs, our lifestyle is healthier. We don't experience much terminal sicknesses like other things do.
Professions, yeah.
Although the work is the work is stressful, I think because we are dealing with humans, the sort of satisfaction we receive when we are able to achieve certain goals helps us emotionally to continue to do our job. I saw something on Facebook about one of the players meeting his SHS teacher outside the country on I think at the stadium, and he was hyping the teacher, giving him his replica jersey. I was just imagining how that teacher would be feeling. And then we have heard of my senior colleagues, teachers that have taught way longer. When they go to the banking halls, their former students see them, they give them VIP treatment. Okay. You go to other sectors where you have taught students and they are there. You go to the hospital, the nurse said, hey, that was my teacher. So you are giving some VIP treatment. These are all part of the reward. Was like a notorious teacher or no-nonsense teacher that treated students badly. And fortunately, my colleague became a police officer and he was at the bar or something. When he saw that was the teacher, he just packed him for no reason, just to punish him. We said like, had him stop and pack for apparently no reason for an hour of time. After he left, he said, that teacher who was troubling me, I just gave him some pepper. So it was like, what do we in the classroom to us?
Yeah.
Enough, or as we expected. We get rewards. Should be looking up for. I'm concentrated on getting the most out of what I can get here, do what my conscience will allow me to do, irrespective of the challenges, and see what results I can get from there. I hope to get positive ones, and I've started getting a few. And aside that, what my other colleague said about doing something as a teacher to compensate for the low income. I am a teacher, but I have registered a construction company. I have a small backyard piggery. And then sometimes I use my salary as collateral because I don't want to get a bigger loan to do something that will be more profitable than the interest I'm going to pay on the loan. So these are all avenues we can all venture into to see if we can make a way out of our financial troubles. But indeed, our reward is here, no, and we are getting them. If you do it well, you get well. If you do it not so well, I wish none of us would be treated like how my colleague treated his teacher the other time. Thank you.
Much well explained. I think it's true. We've enjoyed a few rewards as teachers, especially those who have been in service for quite a long time. There are times you meet a student you once taught, and then you are giving some favors, but sometimes that alone is demeaning because the student just sees you and goes like, hey, I haven't seen much improvement in the life of my teacher. And it becomes very demoralizing, but I really do understand. So I think there's a certain level of unanimity in terms of the fact that our reward is not in heaven, indeed, it should be on earth. We should enjoy here before we go to heaven to also enjoy. So I share that with you. So I think we'll go to our next guest to find out his views on this very important statement or question that people would always, or statement that people would always want to fall down the throat of teachers. So Mr. Bedra, if you're here, so are you going to admit or accept the statement that indeed we shouldn't grab all that we need to grab here and that we should wait upon the Lord when we join him in heaven? What's your thought on this? Mr. Bedra, can you hear me, please?
Please come again.
Mr. Bedra, can you hear me? So I was asking if you share the view that a teacher's reward is in heaven, so we don't have to agitate for better conditions of service and rather wait upon the Lord. Have you spoken on this matter already?
No, you haven't.
I think Mr. Apple. Yes, as teachers, should we wait to be given our reward when we go to heaven, or it should be given to us right here on earth?
Okay. I would like to also ask same question.
Please go ahead. We are getting some feedbacks from.
Are we that the teacher is definitely?
Okay, go ahead. We can hear you now.
It's right off anywhere in Ghana. Okay. The professionals have no reward in heaven. They system.
If you could position yourself well, I think
we'll only get. Is it okay?
Yes, I think it's okay. Please go ahead.
Is it okay?
Yes, it's okay. Please go ahead.
Okay. I will make it to heaven. Is it in stone? The fact right of Ghana.
That's the question to the gods, yes. Go ahead.
We hope that we so don't actually before today. Just everything that is due, the teacher must be to him right. The teachers are ready and never ready to give the best. It's just fair that as teachers, a share of the national cake.
Yes.
These politicians and managers of our institutions to take the latter part. Apparently, someone shared a joke with me that if we are all, then the richest man on that then is managing. That same analogy can be made. If the entire cake belongs to all of us, citizens of man, then why should have an upper hand over equally or proportionately? So everyone, there is always a salary increment for these policies. Of the teacher. How many? Also increment across get larger ones. Even today,
wow.
Issue when the CUC secretary.
I am really in pain. You are making such good submissions, but the network is very bad.
Very hard
and so the line is breaking, but I'm getting quite a lot of
the politician. Is it okay?
Yes, it's okay, but briefly, yes, briefly. Let's conclude.
Okay. So as I was saying, the teachers cannot always be telling the teachers' reward is they enjoy years on earth. Unfortunately, take you to hell.
Wow. Thank you very much, Mr. Bejo. I think there is a high
This
level,
particular
as
question
I
is a
said earlier on, of the unanimity in terms of the fact that teachers
giving
must
our fair
be
share.
given what is due us on earth, just as every professional enjoys or every profession is apportioned in this country. So it makes sense. It's been a very productive session, and this is something we'll be having from time to time. So let's take a few words from Mr. Michael Techi, and then we'll wrap up today's session. Mr. Techi, if you can hear me.
Wow, wow, wow. I'm so much impressed. And I think the submissions today, I don't know, my notebook here is full because I'm writing down so many vital things. Wow, I don't know, Madam Dorcas is running a personal piggery and at the same time running an engineer program. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for making time for us, our special guest. I'm so happy for the time you made out of your busy schedules to join us. I'm so happy. Thank you so much for your time. And one thing that I'm taking away today is that every teacher must have a side hustle. Our reward is never in heaven. As Dorcas said, it's a loose talk. And it's a common statement that they say this every day to belittle the teacher. Why is our reward in heaven? Why can't we enjoy the fruit of our labor here on earth? Why can't we enjoy that? So every teacher here must have a side hustle. Look, brand yourself as a teacher. My teachers in a private school. There are private schools that are paying 7,000, 5,000 a month. You can have it. You can equally go to such schools and have such offer. So please, brand yourself as a teacher, have a side hustle, and your reward will be here on earth. You deserve to enjoy. Thank you so much for having time joining us. I'm so grateful. And once again, this is Prime Choice Educational Consult. Next month, we are coming again with my classroom, my experience. So watch out for another wonderful program. Thank you so much, Mr. Eugene.
Thank you very much, Mr. Techi. And Mr. Hatwell Avamaga, thank you very much. I think yesterday you organized a training for our fellows in the Volta region. Mr. Darlington, thank you for always joining us. We really appreciate you. Everyone that joined today, we thank you very much for your time. All our special guests, we thank you for making time to share with us your experiences. It's been very insightful and very, very productive. Thank you all very much for choosing this profession. Until same time next month, we thank you all for your time and have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.